Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. Today we're going to recap last night's final wild card game from the NFL. We have NBA, NHL, college basketball, soccer, tennis. We'll go over the Sony Open results, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with football. The Cowboys come out on top by a score of 31-14. My slight under pick comes through. Cowboys advance to the division round. So the NFC East has three teams in the divisional round. And Tom Brady in the Buccaneers season comes to an end. So, interesting game. To me, the craziest part of this game is that the Cowboys kicker, Brett Maher, missed not one, not two, not three, but four extra points. And they still won. I think that says a lot to how bad the Bucs really were this year. That division was just awful. Even though everybody finished with not terrible records. But that's because they beat each other up in division play. Dak Prescott played a great game, 25 of 33, 305 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Tom Brady was not very good, but the stats may tell you a different story. 35 of 66, 351 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Dallas moves on to take on the 49ers. They'll play on Sunday. Bucs season's over. Bucs season, to me, is a failure. No other way around it. You didn't go to the Super Bowl, and now Tom is either going to retire or definitely leave the Bucs to go somewhere else where he has a better chance to win. But I don't think the 49ers are a slam dunk. I know people say that they're interested, but Brock Purdy, if he continues to play well in these playoffs, he's going to earn that long-term starting job. And they're going to have to trade Trey Lance and let go of Jimmy Garoppolo. But to me, the team that stands out is the Vegas Raiders because of Josh McDaniels. Devontae Adams is there. They have a good... they're kind of similar to the Bucs. I think that the relationship with Josh McDaniels from New England, I think, is a big factor. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's them. I don't think he'll go back to New England. I think the Jets are a sneaky possibility for Brady. That was a team that was good the first half of the season, maybe even the 3/4 of the season, and they faltered because Mike White got hurt and they had some other flaws on that team as well. So that's an interesting potential destination. Maybe New Orleans with Sean Payton if Payton were to go back there, but that would be weird. Carolina package duel. I don't see it being Houston. If Sean Payton goes to Denver, it's not going to be Denver because of Russell Wilson being there already. So it's not guaranteed that he'll end up with Sean Payton. But I will tell you that I don't think he'll be back on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year. Meanwhile, Dallas, is it fair to say their season's a success now that they won a playoff game? I'm going to say no. To me, they have to get by the 49ers. And honestly, they might have to go to the Super Bowl for their season to be called a success. It depends on how the other divisional round goes because I know weird things happen and whatnot in the NFL, but if you lose to Philly in the NFC title game in Philly, I don't think there's really shame in that, especially if Philadelphia is healthy. But say if it was the Giants somehow, some way, in an improbable way, that they lost to the Giants in the postseason, then we might have to discuss whether going to the NFC Championship game was a success or not. But I know they're going to be an underdog on Sunday against the 49ers, and rightfully so. But to me, they have to go to the NFC Championship game for their season to be considered a success. Especially if the opponent in that round were to be Philadelphia. So, a lot of pressure on Dallas to win this game. But I do think that Mike McCarthy probably saved his job with this win. If they had lost this game, he would have been gone. But it's a little clearer for Sean Payton where he should go, especially if the Chargers fire Brandon Staley. There's a reason why Sean Payton hasn't picked his team yet. He's waiting on word from the Chargers to see what they do with Brandon Staley. So it's going to be very interesting for sure. All right, now I'll move on to the NBA. We'll recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to the games today. Celtics over the Hornets 130-118, Bucks over the Pacers 132-119, Cavs over the Pelicans 113-103, Raptors over the Knicks 123-121 in overtime, Warriors over the Wizards 127-118, Hawks over the Heat 121-113, Jazz over the Timberwolves 126-125, Grizzlies over the Suns 136-106, and the Lakers over the Rockets 140-132. Only 4 games tonight, 7:30 TNT. You have the Raptors and the Bucks. My projections here is the Bucks by 7 3/4, total 223.5, and we got. It looks like Middleton's playing 4.5 and 223.5. I love the Bucks. Letdown for the Raptors after a game they shouldn't have won at the Knicks yesterday. So that's weird that I guess Middleton's playing because he would have popped up on the out list if he wasn't playing. But Giannis is questionable. So is Middleton. Okay. But I'll lay the points with the Bucks, assuming Giannis plays. Nets Spurs at 8 o'clock. My line is San Antonio by 8 1/4, total 229 and 2 fits. And it's Brooklyn by 5.5, total 232.5. This is a tough one. So let's go with the under. Nine o'clock, Blazers Nuggets. My line is Denver by 13.5, total 228, and it's 7 and 237. Under. That's way too high. And then 10 o'clock, TNT Sixers Clippers. My line is Philly by 1, total 221 and 13/20, and it's Philly by 1, total 223. Slight under is the pick. All right, now I'll move on to the NHL. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's games. Bruins over the Flyers 6-0. Panthers over the Sabres 4-1. Avs over the Red Wings 6-3. Devils over the Sharks 4-3 in a shootout. Lightning over the Kraken 4-1. Stars over the Golden Knights 4-1 or 4-0. Rangers over the Jackets 3-1. Pens over the Ducks 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Jake Gensel. Caps over the Islanders 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Dmitry Orlov. Preds over the Flames 2-1 and Blues over the Sens 2-1. 8 games. Tonight, 7 o'clock, you have the Jets with the Canadians. Winnipeg is minus 235. Habs plus 190 over under 6. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Jets minus 1F is plus 106. Habs plus 1F is minus 130. For this one, this is tough. I'm going to go with the Jets puck line. Minus 1F at plus 106. Ducks Flyers. Flyers minus 194. Ducks plus 160 over under 6. Overs minus 116. Unders minus 106. Ducks plus 1F is minus 154. Flyers minus 1F is plus 126. Over. Panthers Maple Leafs. Leafs minus 184. Panthers plus 152. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 108. Unders minus 112. Panthers plus 1.5 is minus 170. Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 138. I like the over. Wild Capitals. Wild minus 126. Caps plus 105. Over under 6. Over minus 10 each way. Wild minus 1.5 is plus 10. Caps plus 1.5 is minus 265. I don't know why the Wild are road favorites. Give me the Capitals plus 105. 8 o'clock, Blue Jackets, Preds. Preds minus 220. Jackets plus 180 over under 6.5. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Jackets plus 1.5 is minus 142. Preds minus 1.5 is plus 114. I like the under. 8:30, Sabres, Blackhawks. Sabres minus 178. Blackhawks plus 146. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 118. Sabres minus 1.5 is plus 134. Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 164. I'm going Sabres in regulation minus 113. 9 o'clock, Red Wings, Coyotes. Detroit minus 142. Arizona plus 118. Over under 6. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 106. Detroit minus 1.5 is plus 168. Coyotes plus 1.5 is minus 210. This is a hard one, but I'm going to go with the over. Don't feel good about it, though. And then last but not least, the Kraken and the Oilers. Oilers minus 178. Kraken plus 146. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 120. Unders minus 102. Kraken plus 1.5 is minus 162. Oilers minus 1.5 is plus 132. The Seattle Kraken have been making some money lately with some of these bettors. I don't bet every play I give out, but if I bet the Kraken the last several times I've given out on the show, I'd be in a good spot. And so would all of you if you were to be playing the Kraken money line with an underdog in all these games. I'm doing it again, plus 146. I love betting on the Seattle Kraken team. Or picking them, I should say. All right, now I'll move on to college basketball. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's slate, which is a smaller window than yesterday. Cornell over Columbia, 102-85. Villanova over Georgetown, 77-73. Towson over Hofstra, 68-47. Dartmouth over Harvard, 60-59. St. Joe's over LaSalle, 71-59. Sacramento over St. Frank, PA, 54-51. Number 3, Purdue over Michigan State, 64-63. UTEP over Charlotte, 60-58. George Washington over George Mason, 78-75. Alabama State over Alabama A&M, 69-61. Number 18, Charleston over William & Mary, 82-54. UMBC over Hartford, 87-62. Florida A&M over Mississippi Valley State, 60-59. Yale over Brown, 81-78. Illinois over Minnesota, 78-60. Northeastern over Delaware, 59-58. UC Davis over UC San Diego, 78-70. Number 17, Miami over Syracuse, 82-78. Number 24, FAU over Western Kentucky, 76-62. Howard over Morehouse, 89-65. Lehigh over Loyola, Maryland, 74-70. North Texas over FIU, 64-57. Princeton over Penn, 72-60. Fairleigh Dickinson over Stonehill, 65-57. St. Fran Brooklyn over LIU, 73-66. Cleveland State over Purdue Fort Wayne, 72-60. NCAT over Hampton, 79-67. UNC Wilmington over Elon, 62-54. Arkansas Pine Bluff over Bethune, 77-71. Wagner over Merrimack, 62-57. Rice over UTSA, 88-81 in overtime. UC Riverside over Cal Poly, 83-78 in overtime. Texas Southern over Jackson State, 84-82. Alcorn State over Prairie View, 77-68 in overtime. Middle Tennessee over UAB, 74-73 in overtime. UC Santa Barbara over UC Irvine, 73-65. Idaho over Montana State, 74-70. Eastern Washington over Montana, 64-57. Hawaii over Cal State Northridge, 58-51. And Fullerton over Bakersfield, 76-46. All right, now tonight's game, 6:30 on the SEC Network. Ole Miss at South Carolina. I project the Pick'em in 134 7/10. And it is 5.5 and 103.5. Give me South Carolina plus the 5.5, and they're plus 198 to win outright. Number 1, Houston at Tulane. My line is Houston 6.5, total 142.25, and it is 10.5 and 146.5. going with the under. ESPN, number 2, Kansas at number 13, Kansas State. My line is Kansas by 5, total 143 3/4, and it's 1.5 and 147.5. This is another tough one. So I have a 3.5 point edge on Kansas. And a more than 3.5 point edge on the under, so the pick's going to be the under. Number 9, Tennessee at Mississippi State on ESPN2. My line is Tennessee by 8, total 125 3/4, and it's 6.5 and 123.5. Over. UIC and Valparaiso. My line is Valpo by 3, total 138 19/20. And we got 2.5 and 138.5. Very close. Slight lean to Valpo. ACC Network, NC State, Georgia Tech. My line is NC State by 9 1/4, total 143 3/5. And it is 5.5 and 143.5. I'm going to lay to 5.5 at NC State. ESPNU, Florida State, Notre Dame. My line is Notre Dame by 3.5, total 141 3/20. And we got 5.5 and 140.5. I'm taking Florida State getting the points. Boston College, North Carolina. My line's UNC by 17 1/4, total 143 13/20. And it's 14.5 and 143.5. I'm going to lay the points. Fox Sports 1, Creighton Butler. My line is Creighton by 3 1/4, total 140 3/4. And we got 7.5 and 140.5. I love Butler getting the points. Second time these two teams have faced off against each other this year, I think. And I took Butler in best bet the first time, and it lost. And I think that was the last time I lost best bet before last Thursday. Or whatever that day that was. Rhode Island, Richmond. My line is Richmond by 9 3/4, total 135 11/20. And it's 8.5 and 134.5. Slight lean to Richmond. Davidson, Dayton on CBS Sports Network. My line is Dayton 13, total 133 1/4. And it's 10.5 and 129.5. I'm going to take the over. UMass VCU, my line is VCU by 10 1/4, total 138 3/20. And it's 9.5 and 142.5. Under. Ohio, Toledo. My line is Toledo by 10 1/4, total 154.5. And it's 8.5 and 159.5. Under. Kent State, Eastern Michigan. My line is Kent by 5 or 15 3/4 to 145 1/4. And it's 13.5 and 146.5. I'm going to lay the points at Kent State. Akron and Central Michigan. My line is Akron by 10 1/4 to 136 and 11/20. And it's 9.5 and 133.5. Over. Bowling Green, Buffalo. My line's Buffalo by 6 to 153.5. And it's 6.5 and 161.5. Under. That's very high. Western Michigan, Ball State. My line is Ball State by 14 1/4 to 144 7/10. And it's 9.5 and 145.5. I'm going to lay the points at Ball State. Northern Illinois and Miami of Ohio. My line is Miami of Ohio by 7 to 146 1/10. And it's 5.5 and 143.5. Over. 8 o'clock. Number 7, Texas. Number 12, Iowa State. Probably the second best game of the night behind the Kansas State game. I project Texas by 3, total 138 and a tenth, and it's Iowa State by 2.5, total 131.5. Ooh, where do I go? I'm going to go with the over. Evansville and Southern Illinois. My line's Southern Illinois by a whopping 28, total 130 and 19.20. It's in 17.5 and 125.5. I'm going to lay the points of Southern Illinois. 8:30 on the SEC Network. Number 4 Alabama at Vanderbilt. My line is Bama by 12 and a quarter, total 148 and 3/20, and it is 8.5 and 155.5. Under. Big Ten Network. Penn State, Wisconsin. My line is Wisconsin by 4 3/4, total 136 and a quarter, and it's 3.5 and 129.5 over. Number 19, Clemson at Wake Forest at 9 o'clock. My line is Clemson by 4, total 145 and 3/4. And we got Wake by 2.5, total 147.5. Woo! They're begging you to take Clemson. Give me Clemson plus 2.5 and plus 122 outright. Although this could be Vegas knows. ESPNU, number 21, Baylor at Texas Tech. My line's Baylor by 5.5, total 145 and 19/20. And it's Texas Tech by 1.5, total 145.5. Whoo! That's a terrible line. Give me Baylor plus 1.5 and plus 106. This reminds me of last week when West Virginia was favored over Baylor. But Baylor clearly should have been favored, and they should be favored here. Ridiculous. CBS Sports Network, Murray State, Belmont. My line is Belmont by 8.5, total 142 and 7/20. And it's 6.5 and 143.5. I'm going to lay the points at Belmont. ESPN, Georgia, Kentucky. My line is Kentucky by 7 3/4, total 138 and 7/20. And it's 10.5 and 135.5. So the question is, do I go with the over or do I go with Georgia? So 2 3/4 and a little over 2 3/4. So I'll take the over. Wyoming Air Force. My line's Wyoming by 1.5, total 136 and a fifth. And Air Force is giving 2.5, totals 131.5. I like the over. UNLV and Utah State. My line is Utah State by 5, total 146 and 3/5. And we got 5.5 and 147.5. Slight under. San Jose State and New Mexico on Fox Sports 1. My line's New Mexico by 16, total 141 and 3/4, and it's 10.5 and 142.5. I'm going to lay the points. And last but not least, Nevada, Boise State. My line's Boise by 9.5, total 134 and 19/20. And it's 5.5 and 134.5. I'm going to lay the points with Boise State. All right, now I'll move on to the soccer. We'll go over the results of note and look ahead to today's notable soccer games. All right, Spanish La Liga from yesterday. Cadiz over Elche. Cadiz and Elche 1-1 draw. We won't see Spanish La Liga again until Friday. Serie A, Empoli over Sampdoria 1-0. We won't see Italian Serie A again until Saturday. And Mexican Liga, Leon over Necaxa 2-1. So anything of significance today? We have a lot going on Friday. which is good. So yeah, so it looks like that we don't have anything of significance until Friday in soccer. So we do have some stuff going on Wednesday too, but a lot is gonna go down on Friday. All right, now move on to tennis. We'll go over first round results from the Australian Open and look ahead to some second round today. We'll start with the men's. So 12 seed Alexander Zverev over Juan Pablo Varillas in 5 sets. Andy Murray over number 13 Matteo Berrettini in 5 sets. Number 8 Taylor Fritz over Nicolas Basilashvili in 4 sets. J.J. Wolf over Jordan Thompson in 4 sets. Number 14 Pablo Carreno over Pedro Chacin in 3 sets. 30 seed Alejandro Davidovich Fokina over Alexander Bublik in 5 sets. Nicholas Jarry over number 26 Miomir Kekmanovic in 3 sets. Number 13 Diego Schwartzman over Alexei Karuthi in 4 sets. 5 seed Andrei Rublev over Dominic Thiem in 3 sets. Number 25 Dan Evans over Facundo Bagnis in 4 sets. Laszlo Dare over Zizou Bergs in 4 sets. Benjamin Bonzi over Mattia Bellucci in 4 sets. 27 seed Grigor Dimitrov over Aslan Karasev in 3 sets. Jeremy Chardy over Daniel Galan in 4 sets. 7 seed Daniil Medvedev over Marcos Giron in 3 sets. Lloyd Harris over upsets number 17 seed Lorenzo Musetti in 5 sets. Constant Listine over Thiago Monteiro in 3 sets. 3 seed Stefano Tsitsipas over Quentin Halys in 4 sets. 6 seed Felix Auger-Aliassime over Vasek Pospisil in 4 sets. 11 seed Cam Norrie over Luca Van Osh in 3 sets. Rinky Hijikata over Yannick Hanfmann in 5 sets. Alex Molcan over Stan Wawrinka in 5 sets. Martin Fucsovics over Federico Coria in 5 sets. Christopher Eubanks over Sunwoo Kwon in 5 sets. And John Millman over Mark Huesler in 5 sets. And in first round, so a couple of suspended matches. 24 seed Roberto Bautista Agut and Joao Sosa. Bautista Agut has a 2-set lead on Sosa. John Isner and Adrian Manarino are 1-1. We have a final 2-seed Casper Ruud over Tomas Machak in 4 sets. Going on right now is Chung-Sin Sung and Alexei Popyrin. Also suspended Alexander Vucic and Brandon Holt. Richard Gasquet and Hugo Humbert. Thanasi Kakianis and Fabio Fognini. Max Purcell and Emil Ruusuvuori. Albert Ramos Vinolas and Maxime Cressy. Michael Amo and Laurent Lecoli. And then some finals. 4-seed Novak Djokovic over Roberto Carreras Baena in 3 sets. 22-seed Alex de Minaur over Yu Hisoi Su in 3 sets. Jensen Brooksby over Chris O'Connell in 4 sets. Tommy Paul over Jen Leonard Struff in 3 sets. 9 seed Holger Rune over Filip Krajinovic in 3 sets. And Ben Shelton over Zizhen Zhang in 4 sets. We have some second round matches set. We'll make some picks. 14 seed Pablo Carrera Busta and Benjamin Bonds. We go with Busta in 4 sets. 2018 Francisco Cerundolo and Corentin Moutet. We're going to go with Cerundolo in 4 sets. 2017 Grigor Dimitrov and Laszlo Dare. We're going to go Dimitrov in 4. Chris Eubanks and Jiri Lecheka. We're going to go Eubanks in 4. Ben Shelton and Nicholas Jarry. We're going to go with Jarry in an upset. Let's go 5 matches. Jeremy Chardy and 25 seed Dan Evans. We're going to go with Dan Evans in 4. 30 seed Alejandro Davidovich Fokina and Tommy Paul. We're going to go with Fokina in 4. Enzo Cousaud and Hugo Delien. We're going to go with Cousaud in 4. Delabor's Versina and 31 seed Yoshihito Nishioka. We're going Nishioka in 3 sets. Taro Daniel and 20 seed Denis Shapovalov. We're going Shapovalov in 3. 23 seed Diego Schwartzman and JJ Wolf. We're going to go Schwartzman in 4. Thomas Echeverry and 15 seed Jannik Sinner. We're going Sinner in 3. 10 seed Hubert Hurkacz and Lorenzo Sonego. We're going with Hurkacz in 3. 29 seed Sebastian Korda and Yusuke Watanuki. We're going to go with Korda in 3. Lloyd Harris and Martin Fuskevitz. We're going to go with Fuskevitz in 5. 11 seed Cam Norrie and Constant Lestienne. We're going to go with Norrie in 4. Talon Griekspoor and Botic Van de Zandschulp. We're going to go with your 32 seed in 4 sets. Dennis Kudla and Roman Safulin. We're going to go with Kudla in 4. Alex Molcon and 6 seed Felix Auger-Aliassime. We're going with Auger-Aliassime in 3. 1 seed Rafael Nadal and Mackenzie McDonald. We're going with Nadal in 3. Don't feel super about it. That could go 4. And JC Shang and 16 seed Francis Tiafoe. We're going to go with Tiafoe in 3. And then overnight, 18 seed Kara Kaknavov and Jason Kuber. We're going to go Kaknavov in 3. John Millman and 7 seed Daniil Medvedev. We're going to go Medvedev in 4. And 3 seed Stefanos Tsitsipas and Rinky Hishkata. We're going to go Tsitsipas in 3. All right, to the women's side. First round results from yesterday. 30 seed Carolina Pliskova or Wang Ziyu in 2 sets. 16 seed Annette Kontaveit over Julia Grabner in 2 sets. Katie Volinets over Evgenia Rodina in 2 sets. 4 seed Caroline Garcia over Catherine Sabov in 2 sets. Linda Fruhvirtova over Jamie Forlis in 2 sets. Camelia Georgi over Anastasia Pavlyuchova in 2 sets. 19 seed Katerina Alexandrova over Yaselin Bonaventure in 2 sets. Kimberly Burrell over 31 seed Kaya Kanepi in 3 sets. Shelby Rogers over Ariane Hartonono in 2 sets. Anna Carolina Schmidlova over 21 seed Martina Trevisan in 2 sets. Leylah Fernandez over Elise Cornet in 2 sets. Taylor Towson over Diane Parry in 2 sets. 2016 Elise Mertens over Gabrine Magruska in 3 sets. 5 seed Arina Sablenka over Teresa Martinkova in 2 sets. 10 seed Madison Keys over Anna Blinkova in 3 sets. Xinyu Wang over Storm Sanders in 2 sets. Kaja Juvan over Selena Jedisevic in 2 sets. 1 seed Iga Swiatek over Julie Niemeyer in 2 sets. Lin Zhu over Rebecca Marino in 2 sets. 32 seed Jill Teichman over Harriet Dart in 2 sets. 22 seed Elena Rybakina over Elisabetta Corrichetto in 2 sets. Nadia Podoroska over Leola Jeanjean in 2 sets. Katie McNally over Laura Pigossi in 2 sets. Camelia Osorio over Pana Udvardi in 2 sets. And then this morning, matches suspended Claire Liu, Madison Bringle, Allison Risk, and Marketa Vondrousova, Danka Kovnovic and Lauren Davis, and Donna Venchik and Oksana Skelemateva. In their first round results, 12 seed Belinda Bencic over Victoria Tomova in 2 sets. 2 seed Ons Jabeur over Tamara Zinasek in 3 sets. Yulia Putintseva over Sarana Seresta in 3 sets. 18 seed Ludmila Samsonova over Jasmine Paolini in 2 sets. Petra Martic over Viktorija Golubic in 2 sets. And 9 seed Veronika Kudermetova over Marina Zemnevska in 2 sets. All right, we're going to pick some second round matches. There are some first round ones that are still have to be done because of the weather situation at the Open. We'll pick the second round ones. 32 seed Jill Teichman and Lin Zhu will go with Teichman in 2 sets. Anna Bondar and 17 seed Jelena Ostapenko in 2. Leylah Fernandez and 4 seed Caroline Garcia will go with Garcia in 3. Anna Carolina Schmidlova and Camelia Georgi. I'm going to go with Schmidlova in 3. 1 seed Iga Swiatek and Camelia Osorio. We're going with Swiatek in 2. Olivia Gadecki and Marta Kasiuk. We're going with Gadecki in 3. Nadia Podoroska and 24 seed Victoria Azarenka. We'll go Azarenka in 3. 20 seed Barbara Krejcikova and Clara Burrell. We'll go Krejcikova in 2. 14 seed Beatrice Haddad Maya and Nuria Parizas Diaz. We're going to go with Haddad Maya in 2 sets. Oh, yeah, that was a first round match. Apologies, guys. All right, so back to second round. 29 seed Queen Zhang and Bernarda Pera. We're going to go with Zhang in 3. 30 seed Carolina Pliskova and Yulia Putintseva. We're going to go Pliskova in 2. 5 seed Arena Sablenka and Shelby Rogers. We're going to go with Sablenka in 3. Taylor Towson and 19 seed Katerina Alexandrova. We'll go Alexandrova in 3. Kristina Buska and Bianca Andreescu in 2. Kimberly Burrell and Linda Fruhvirtova. We're going to go with Burrell in 3, but I don't feel good about it. Diana Schneider in 6 seed Maria Sakkari. Go Sakkari in 2. Katie McNally and Katerina Biondi. Kozlova. We're going with McNally in 3. Katie Volinets and 19 Veronika Kudermetova. Go Kudermetova in 2. 3 seed Jessica Pegula and Alexandra Sasnovic. We're going Pegula in 3. And Helia Kalinina and 15 seed Petra Kvitova. We're going Kvitova in 2. 10 seed Madison Keys and Xinyu Wang. We're going Keys in 2. And second round into tonight, 22 seed Elena Rybakina and Kaja Juvan will go Rybakina in 2. 7 seed Coco Gauff and Eva Raducanu will go Gauff in 3. That's going to be a good match. And Carolina Muchova and 13 seed Danielle Collins. We're going to go with Danielle Collins in 3. All right, now we're going to go over the results from the Sony Open. We forgot to do that on the podcast yesterday, so we'll just do it right now. So your winner of the Sony Open with a score of 18 under, Sai Woo Kim. Coming in second with 17 under, Hayden Buckley. Coming in third with 15 under, Chris Kirk. Tied for fourth with 14 under, Adam Putnam, Davis Lipsky, and Ben Taylor. Tied for seventh with 13 under, Maverick McNeely, Matt Kuchar, who was my pick, Nate Lashley, Alex Badley, Nate Taylor. Tied for 12th with 12 under, JJ Spawn, Corey Connors, Byung Hun Nicholas Echeverria, Andrew Novak, Ben Griffin, Taylor Montgomery, Sayu Kim, and Austin Eckroat. Tied for 21st with 11 under, Adam Scott, Yuan Yachun, Brendan Todd, Stuart Sink, Chun On-Yu, Bryce Garnett, and JT Potson. Tied for 28th with 10 under, Will Gordon, Stefan Yeager, Kyung-Koo Lee, and Harry Hall. Tied for 32nd with 9 under, Doc Redmond, Cam Davis, Brian Harmon, Ryan Henley, Michael Thompson, Dylan McCarthy, Ryan Palmer, Ben Martin, and Tyler Alexander. Tied for 41st with 8 under, Taylor Hogue, Adam Svebson, Ches Ravi, Ryan Brem, Justin Sue, Nate Hardy, and Augusto Nunez. Tied for 48th with 7 under, Brendan Steele, Grayson Sieg, Zach Blair, Danny Lee, Hideki Matsuyama, and Adam Long. Tied for 54th with 6 under, MJ Dauphe, Chad Ramey, Davis Thompson, Kevin Tway, Joseph Brimlett, Joseph Winslow, and Kaita Nakajima. Tied for 61st with 5 under, Cole Hammer, Aaron Ray, Eric Cole, and Kelly Craft. Tied for 65th with 4 under, Brian Storr and Troy Merritt. Tied for 67th at 3 under, Austin Smotherman, Russell Knox, Adam Schenk, Taiga Simikawa, and Anders Albertson. 72nd with 2 under, Kazuki Higa. Tied for 73rd with 1 under, Harry English and Kurt Katayama. 75th with 1 over, Zach Johnson. 76th with 2 over, Patton Gazier. Among those cut, Mark Hubbard, KJ Choi, Joakim Herman, Jordan Spieth, Kramer Hickok, Brandon Wu, Sam Piercy, Ryan Moore, Dylan Wu, Rory Sabatini, Kyle Stanley, Alex Molloy, Chasen Haley, Sam Ryder, Scott Stevens, Peter Malnati, Keith Mitchell, Emiliano Grillo, Lucas Glover, Webb Simpson, Ryan Moore, Gary Woodland, Victor Norman, Sanjay Im, Cam Young, Tyler Duncan, Harry Higgs, Scott Harrington, Richie Wierenski, Mackenzie Hughes, Robbie Shelton, Michael Gilgick, Christian Ziedenhow, Kevin Strillman, Matthias Schwab. So there you have it for the Sony Open. Next tournament is the American Express in 2 days. We will do tee times and make a pick on the Thursday podcast. All right, news and notes time for today. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about. We'll start with Tom Brady, who had a press conference after the game. He says he'll talk or think about making a decision on his future. He'll take time. He thanked the Bucs and local media after loss. So that's a sign that he's either retiring or leaving the Bucs to me. The Patriots are targeting Bill O'Brien to return to New England for his old job as offensive coordinator. Sean Payton says he's open to the Texans, as he absolutely would consider Houston, with Denver and Carolina interviews upcoming. Jim Harbaugh is staying with Michigan as President Santa Ono announces that Harbaugh will return to the Wolverines. I knew this was going to be the case. Jim Harbaugh loves Michigan. Everybody picks or predicts every year that he's going to leave, but I always predict that he's going to stay because that's his alma mater. He left the 49ers for this job. And he loves Michigan. And I don't see him leaving anytime soon. Ryan Jansen made his season debut. And he revealed that he didn't surgically repair his torn ACL, MCL, and PCL or damage to the meniscus before the return on Monday night, which is wild. Russell Gage got carted off at the end of last night's game, and Todd Bowles says that he has a concussion and potential neck injury and was taken to a hospital and was moving fingers, which is a good sign. But that was a scary scene last night in Tampa. Lamar Jackson had a cryptic Instagram story amid uncertain future in Baltimore. The Commander sale is expected soon, maybe by March, and Jeff Bezos is likely out of the running. Then who's in the running if Bezos is out? And Bezos does make sense for them. The Colts are requesting more interviews. 49ers defensive coordinator D'Amico Ryans and Giants coordinators Mike Kafka and Wink Martindale. Joey Bosa went on a rant and says he is sick of those effing people. The Cowboys will work with Brett Maher instead of looking for potential replacements. Mike McCarthy says we need him. So, a couple NFL draft news. The TCU wide receiver Johnston declared for the draft. So did C.J. Stroud and Jordan Addison. So they're the latest players to declare for the draft. The AP poll is out for college basketball. Some interesting movement, of course. Number 1's Houston, 2 Kansas, 3 Purdue, 4 Alabama, 5 UCLA, 6 Gonzaga, 7 Texas, 8 Xavier, 9 Tennessee, 10 Virginia, 11 Arizona, 12 Iowa State, 13 Kansas State, 14 TCU, 15 UConn, 16 Auburn, 17 Miami, 18 Charleston, 19 Clemson, 20 Marquette, 21 Baylor, 22 Providence, 23 Rutgers, 24 FAU, and 25 Arkansas. Others receiving votes: NC State, St. Mary's, Arizona State, New Mexico, Illinois, San Diego State, Michigan State, Duke, Wisconsin, Creighton, Kent State, Boise State, Texas A&M, Ohio State, Missouri, VCU, Iowa, North Carolina. And dropping from the rankings, Wisconsin, Missouri, San Diego State, and Duke. So obviously the biggest dropper is Arkansas, then UConn a close second. The biggest riser is Clemson with their upset win over Duke. A couple of recruiting news is Ian Jackson, number 2 overall player in 2024, commits to North Carolina over Kentucky and Arkansas. That is a big win for Hubert Davis right there. Rutgers lands a top 15 prospect. Ace Bailey commits to Rutgers. And the Rutgers locker room was going berserk. So, the Clippers are eyeing Mike Conley with John Wall out at least 2 weeks due to an abdominal injury. That would be an interesting fit. The Pistons set a Bojan Bogdanovic trade price. They want an unprotected first-round pick at the very minimum in the trade. There are some people that think that Kyle Kuzma wants out of Washington, as the Wizards insist they're willing to pay Kuzma, but there's a belief he'd prefer to relocate. The Cavs are pursuing a 3-team trade that features John Collins joining the Jazz. That would make sense. Trae Young was fined by the Hawks when he chartered a plane instead of flying back with the team after a playoff loss last season. Whew. Talk about a sore loser crybaby. Doesn't want to even be with the team after a loss. This stuff with the Hawks is getting weird. Steph Curry had some MVP chance in DC, which was pretty neat. The San Diego Padres are all in on Shohei Ohtani. Not surprising, everybody's going to be on this guy. And Robin Leonard files for bankruptcy as he and his wife cite up to $50 million in debt in Nevada bankruptcy filing. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. There's one pick that jumped out at me in hockey, believe it or not. It was a total. It's between two teams that are really high-scoring teams. I would not be shocked if this game had 9 goals in it. And that, my friends, I'm going to lay a unit on over 6.5 between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. It's -108. And I think that this would be a good bet. So over 6.5 at -108 between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to everything tomorrow. We have some other stuff that we got to do tomorrow as well. We'll see. And then news and notes and best bet. Have a great day, everyone.